back again. The sun never set on a nation of gods and golden stars. All I saw, align with his mind and reclaim the power. Let the cat be the shot of the hour.
Assalamu alaikum and greetings, everyone. My name is Sister Sandra, and I am sitting in for Sister Amira this evening. And I am assisting our esteemed host, Dr. Alim Muhammad, to bring you news you can use because he is putting us on high alert tonight. So, with that said, Dr. Alim, I'm turning the program over to you, sir. Speak to Allah.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Ramadan Mubarak for those who are observing the fast of Ramadan during this glorious and holy month of Ramadan. And so here we are again. We have survived another week, and we thank Almighty God Allah for that privilege, because we didn't have to be here, and there are many who are not here. And we're going to be, of course, touching on some of those ugly subjects that are front page news in our world today. So welcome once again. This is the 19th element, but it's kind of like a special edition like we did last week, because there's so many strange and bizarre, dangerous and sometimes even wonderful things taking place all at the same time. It kind of gives us a clear meaning of what it means to be a great and a dreadful day. It's great and dreadful all at the same time. It just depends on who you are and what your perspective is. And so this Ramadan for me, and I hope for you, has been a great Ramadan. It's been a great time. Very unusual, if you ask me, and many people have remarked in the same way. And of course, this is not just the holy month of Ramadan. Yesterday or today, if I'm not mistaken, was the celebration of Purim among the Jewish people. And I may not be pronouncing Purim right, but it's a celebration. It's supposed to be a celebration of a victory of ancient Israel against Persia, against the wicked king of Persia. I think his name was Haman. And so right now in Israel, of course, they're celebrating Purim. And you can see all the fireworks in the sky to show you how happy they are to celebrate Purim in the month of Ramadan. Now, of course, for many, maybe not many, but 3 months or so, our theme on the 19th element, the second half of the survival show, the first half being the Your Immunity Project. But the theme has not changed. A world at war. A world gone crazy, a world gone broke. And now we can add another part, a world gone for broke. So it looks like everybody is desperate and they're going for broke. They're going for it with everything that they have. And that might be a clue to you and me. Maybe we need to get started and get going with all that we have, but maybe we need to go for broke, since it seems like a good idea to everybody else. So Sister Cheryl sitting in for Sister Amira, and hopefully everything will be back to normal as soon as possible, but we carry forth as best we can. So Sister Cheryl, if you would show us our first image. We have quite a few, and in one sense, as I said already, this is part 2 of the survival show. So you'll see some of the same themes and some of the same images on both programs. Now, what we're actually involved in and caught up in is a call for unity. Now, of course, the original call for unity was made by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And we showed an image last night on the Your Immunity Project where he said that black unity must be forced. We must force unity. And so it's more than just a call of unity unless there's force and power in the call. And so if there is force and power, which is to say God in the call, then the call will be heeded. And so a call for unity was issued. And we want to thank the program conveners headed by our attorney friend and revolutionary brother, Malik Zulu Shabazz, and all of those working with him to bring about this call for unity that was heard by all and answered by some. And those who answered the call to unity, we had a wonderful time all week long. We turned Savior's Day into Savior's Day week. And we made a call ourselves. When I say we, we're talking about the prayer and fasting family, which touched more than 2.3 million people in the previous year. And when I joined prayer and fasting a year ago or so, I detected a murmur. As a doctor, I'm listening for heart murmurs. And I heard the murmuring of the people. And so that murmuring became articulate speech because we made a call for national, lawful, deliberative dialogue to address the problems and issues that confront our nation, that confront us as a people. And in one sense, that's no different than making a call for unity. Because in order to engage in lawful deliberative dialogue, don't we all have to come together? Of course we'd have to come together. And who's too good not to come together with your brother and your sister? And so this was a big tent event, I like to call it, a big tent event that was room enough for everybody. And we didn't just invoke or invite the living among us, the still living among us, but we invoked the memory of our ancestors, those great ones that went before us, upon whose shoulders we all stand. You see, and so it was a glorious week, this Savior's Day week, that somehow just doesn't seem to want to conclude itself. It just seems to want to go on. And so even though it's officially over, according to the original plan, well, man plans and Allah plans, and Allah is the best of planners. And so we're looking forward to see what Allah has planned for us in the near-term future. So the call for unity has been answered and is going to go forward. There's another conference being planned for later this month, around the vernal equinox. I think the date is somewhere March the 21st. And so I'm sure Attorney Malik Zulu Shabazz will give us the details as time goes on. Next image, please. So if you missed this first call, then don't miss the second call. Now, this is something that you must pay attention to. Those who consume interests, this is from the Quran, those who consume interest cannot stand on the day of resurrection except as one stands who is being beaten by Satan into insanity. That is because they say, quote, trade is just like interest, end quote. But Allah has permitted trade and has forbidden interest. So if you wonder why we are living in a world gone crazy, it is because the leadership of the world, the leadership in Europe, the leadership in Israel, the leadership in America, and many other locations around the world, they have been driven into insanity, so says the Holy Quran, because of their practice of collecting interest. And the Arabic word that's translated there is riba. Riba just doesn't mean charging interest on money. Riba means any kind of injustice, anything that's not fair, anything that's not on the level, anything that's criminal is riba. And we live in a world that has been built on the basis of interest, built on the basis of riba, built on corruption and sin. And so if we are in the day of the resurrection, then what could you expect except that those who have engaged in such evil practices, not just as individuals, but as nations, as civilizations, down through the generations, what would you expect but to see them being driven into insanity? And you tell me that that's not what you're witnessing. Next image, please. Insanity in high places is the same as wickedness in high places. What is evil and wickedness except a form of insanity? And of course, if you are of unstable mind, everybody knows at the time of a full moon, the lunatics go crazy. They go berserk. Well, that's just what we've been through. A blood moon. And haven't you noticed the lunatics going crazy? They were already lunatics. But then when you get any full moon drive them crazy, then on top of that is a total lunar eclipse that produces a blood moon. Well, then that's going to ignite what you might call a bloodlust in lunatics, in the criminally insane. Are you suggesting that Donald Trump is criminally insane? What do you think? Don't you see that Bibi Netanyahu is an insane criminal? And the entire nation is a criminal nation. And so they are being driven insane because of not just the blood moon, but because of their history of the practice of injustices of every type. Their disobedience to every prophet, to every commandment given to them by every prophet has been disobeyed by them. Next image, please. And so the blood moon is driving them crazy. And they're driving them so crazy, they actually think that we're back in the Middle Ages. Look, the Knights Templar, the Knights of Malta. I've said on many occasions what many people have failed to notice. During Trump's first during Trump's first inauguration, not only was he sworn in as the President of the United States, he was also sworn in as the Knight Commander of the Knights of Malta, which is the military branch of the Freemasonics. And so all of the military commanders, the defense chiefs, the high-ranking generals in the Western world, in the European world, dominated by Freemasonic teachings, literally the technology of Yakub, the military commanders of all of those countries, they're under the command of the Knight Commander, and that happens to be Donald J. Trump. He is the Knight Commander of all of them. So when he gives an order, they snap too. So that's why you see all of them lining up behind Trump. He's their commander. Next image, please. And so this is a resumption of a holy crusade. You read about the crusades in history in the Middle Ages. Okay, well, this is the last crusade. This is the last crusade of those who were driven out of the Holy Land 6,000 years ago across the burning desert sands into the hills and cave sides of Europe. And ever since that time, what has been their greatest desire? To find a way back into the Holy Land by hook or by crook, because God drove them out. So the only way they could get back in was by hook and by crook. So here they come, hooking and crooking for the last 100 years with a Zionist plot, a British hatched Zionist plot. What Israel is essentially a British colony, where Lord Balfour wrote a letter to Lord Rothschild 100 years ago saying it is the desire of the British Empire to create a homeland for the Jewish people in Palestine, as though Britain had something to do with the rulership of Palestine. Well, they thought that they did because by hook and by crook, they had conquered it. It was a part of the British Empire, just like they divided Africa up and named this part Rhodesia and another part something else. They were doing that all over the world. And so just like they created the kingdom of Saudi Arabia, the British did. The British created the Arab Emirates. The British created monarchies all over that part of the world. They created a king over Egypt. They created a king over Iraq. They created a king over Iran. They had a king in Jordan, still there, under British authority. Those monarchies in the Gulf states, they were set up by the British 100 years ago, when Lord Balfour issued the Balfour Declaration to create a Jewish homeland. The only thing it was, there were already Jews in the Holy Land, living in all of those countries, had been there for centuries. No problem. But they weren't talking about the Jews that were already in the Holy Land, living peacefully beside the Christians that were in the Holy Land, living peacefully beside the Muslims in the Holy Land. No, they were up to tricks. They wanted to import some European so-called Jews into the Holy Land, the ones that got run into the hills and cave sides of Europe. That's why Bibi Netanyahu was born in Poland. He wasn't born in Palestine. He was born in Poland. And most of them in Israel, that's where they come from. They come from Russia and Poland and Ukraine. They're not from the Holy Land. They're the ones that got run out of the Holy Land. And now they're trying to hook and crook their way back in. And this was the number one hook and crooker here. This is General Albert Pike of the Confederate Army, fought in the Civil War, trying to create what he called the Golden Circle. He was one of the Knights of the Golden Circle. That's another order of the Freemasons. The Knights of the Golden Circle. Marco Rubio. See, he's a Knight of the Golden Circle. That's why they're trying to take over Cuba and Venezuela. We talked about that on other broadcasts. So they were trying to set up a slave empire called the Golden Circle with the headquarters in Havana, Cuba. And so that was Albert Pike. But the other thing he did, he predicted the 3 world wars, and they occurred just like he said, on time. That's because he was giving the orders to all of the Freemasons around the world of what the agenda was for the next 100 years. And so the World War I took off just like he said. World War II took off just like he said. And now we're in the middle of World War III, just like he said. What did he say World War III was all about? He said World War III was designed to pit political Zionism against the world of Islam, and in the process destroy both of them. In other words, his strategy, the Jews don't come out on top, they get destroyed. Because he tricked them into a fight with the Muslims, who also get destroyed if his plan goes as written. It's just a trick to get religious people, so-called, at one another's throats, and then, of course, according to him, then the Christians are going to jump in the middle of it, and it's going to exhaust the Christian world. So with the Jews destroyed, the Christians destroyed, the Muslims destroyed, he says that creates a spiritual vacuum for Lucifer to come in as the new world religion. So it's all about Satanism. Who else would be causing all of this trouble among the righteous people if it wasn't Satan? Come on now. All this trouble couldn't be happening by itself. And so who is in charge of these satanic people nowadays? Next image, please. Because whoever it is, he's doing a good job. Now, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad called America the global serpent. He said that snake in Revelations, that snake in Genesis became the dragon of Revelations. Grew up into a big fiery dragon. And there's America. Look at that. This is from the old Muhammad Speaks. That's Eugene Majid, was the artist of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. He made graphic images of what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was trying to teach. And they're very powerful images. And so you can see that this is true. America has her coils around all nations, everywhere. In the Western Hemisphere, and causing trouble everywhere. Trying to bring everybody under their control, just like a boa constrictor. Trying to squeeze everybody, squeeze the last drop of blood out of Cuba. How many sanctions have they got against Russia? Trying to squeeze the last drop of blood out of everybody, just like a boa constrictor, a wicked snake civilization. That's why in the mosque back in the day, we didn't say the United States of America. No, it was the United Snakes of America. And it looks like America has united all the snakes of the world into one final battle that some are saying is Armageddon. Next image, please. Who's the biggest troublemaker in the world? Who's the biggest state sponsor of terrorism in the world, if it's not the United States? Name me a country that America has not attacked. I think somebody said America's coming up on 250 years of history, and I think it's only like 5 or 6 years out of 250 years that she wasn't at war with somebody. And probably during those years, she is just reloading. That's all. She had to take time out to reload. See, there he is. There's Trump. See, the Knight Commander. See, he's the Knight Commander, which gives him military authority all over the Western world, all over the Christian world. But now he's a knight. He's not the king. So in other words, as the Knight Commander, he's under the authority of the king. And so the king in this case, of course, is Charles III of England. So now what is the fight all about? Well, if you look at the royal titles of King Charles III of England, one of his royal titles, he's not just the King of England and Ireland and Scotland, and the Isles and, all that stuff that they say. He's not just the head of state of Canada and Jamaica and India. All of the former British colonies are now called the British Commonwealth of Nations, and he's the king of all of them. He's the head of state of all of them. But he's also the king of Jerusalem. King Charles III is the king of Jerusalem. And so he has ordered his knights, headed by the Knight Commander himself. He has ordered his knights to go take control of the Holy Land so he can install himself as the king of Jerusalem in the rebuilt Temple of Solomon. That's why you have all that symbolism of Solomon associated with Masonic lore. Because the ultimate purpose is to destroy Al-Aqsa Mosque and rebuild Solomon's temple. And so in order to do that, what must you do? You have to fight a holy war. And you also have to go crazy. You also have to become a religious fanatic. And so that's what you're looking at. Religious fanaticism going to the ultimate. And so I put my logo there, your immunity there, because what is your immunity against insanity? Is the whole world going crazy? Have you gone crazy too? Has the propaganda gotten to you? The messenger said that the war of Armageddon was a battle for the minds of men. Have they gotten to you? So what's your immunity against insanity? Next image, please. I think people are suffering from mass hysteria. They call it the Trump derangement syndrome. So how do you make progress out of a world going crazy, going berserk, going broke? What's the way ahead? What would be the current definition of progress? See, progress just means making things better. So who wouldn't be in favor of that except the devil? Next image, please. Don't you want things better? I know I do. As good as things might be, couldn't they be better? Now, see, this was what I was confronted with, and everybody was confronted with back in the day, prior to 75, when you went to a mosque in the Nation of Islam, and you were contemplating this question: all throughout the meeting. Which one will survive the war of Armageddon? Now, of course, in a certain way, we were already in the war of Armageddon in a certain way, in a limited way. But now we're all the way in it. We're smack dab in the middle of it, as they like to say. We're smack dab in the middle of the war of Armageddon. And so now that becomes a very relevant question. Which one of these flags is going to survive this? When the smoke settles, when the dust clears, which one's still going to be around? Well, I think the answer was obvious then, and the answer is obvious now. The sun, moon, and stars are going to be around. The sun, moon, and stars flies over every flag. America has only been a flag for about 250 years. And we had to give them help with that. We had to send one of our scientists to help them put together a flag. They didn't know how to put a flag because they had never been a free, independent people. And you see, over the last 250 years, they've proven they don't know how to handle freedom. They don't know how to handle freedom, justice, and equality. So now the great democratic republic that they founded 250 years ago, look what has happened to it. It has degenerated into madness. You see, so that's not going to last. You can see it's cracking up right now. The people who led into slavery have been taken into slavery. Look at America, the slave of Israel. I mean, I think that's ironic. The same people that enslaved us are now enslaved themselves. Just like the prophet Obadiah said, as thou hast done, so shall it be done unto you. He who leads into captivity shall go into captivity. So look at America, the slave of Israel, the slave of billionaires, the slave of technocrats. They used to be a free people. You remember when America was a free country? When the people in America were free? When the politicians were free? Gone are those days. Now the Congress is enslaved. The president is enslaved. And even most of the people are enslaved, if you mean debt is slavery. An overwhelming debt is overwhelming slavery. It means the debt is so big that they can never go free. They can never break free. They'll be slaves from now on as long as they last. But see, that slavery leads to suffering, and suffering leads to death. So they're not going to be around that long. So I think the answer to the question is obvious once again. Which one is going to survive the war of Armageddon? The only thing you and I have to do is we have to recognize that we're in the war of Armageddon, and then and then put all general orders into effect. Next image, please. See, that's what the general orders were for. Now, I wanted to show this, and I don't know if the brother's watching tonight or not, but I hope he is, because I had heard for the first time his name spoken on prayer and fasting. I had never heard of the brother, didn't know anything about him, and then even after I heard his name, I didn't really listen to a lecture until I just stumbled across it on YouTube the other night. And I sat down and listened to what this brother had to say, and I was just so impressed. I was so impressed, and you would be impressed too. Now, what it said to me, see, one of my great concerns for our nation of Islam is that these new Muslims, I call them the new Muslims, that joined the nation after 75, they don't, for the most part, have a very good grasp on the root teachings and the way of life of the Muslims under the living leadership of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad when he was physically present among us, the way we lived, the way it was, the way the teachings were delivered. You see, that's missing now. It's not the same. And so a lot of times people think that they have the right thing, but they really don't have the right thing. They never heard the right thing. So when I listen to this brother, and I'm sorry, we're not going to play a little bit of it, but it's on YouTube. But when I listened to this brother, I said, now this is the first time since 1975 that I actually heard a teaching, the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad being presented to the public in its proper term. This is the way I heard it when I joined the nation. Now, this brother is 90-some years old. So he's an older generation than me. I'm in my 70s. So he's from the generation of those that built the nation that I joined. And his was the generation that was teaching me. His generation, they were the examples for my generation. That's how I got to become the way I am, by listening to people like him. He teaches like the old ministers used to teach. And like he says over and over, right and exact. Don't add nothing, don't take nothing away. And so I hardly ever recommend, somebody, I don't recommend movies or books or, no, make up your own mind about things. But I would highly recommend you listen to this brother, especially if you joined the nation after 1975. Then you'll get a taste of the real tonality, the real attitude of Muslims, the way we carried ourselves, the way we presented ourselves, the strength and the power. Then you'll understand people like me. You understand people like him. You understand the kind of people that it took to build the nation. This man is made out of solid iron. That's how all the old followers were. Solid iron. You couldn't break him. You couldn't do nothing to him. Indestructible. And then through the spiritual alchemy of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, this Iron Man became 24 karat gold. So when you listen to him, that's what you're listening to, 24 karat gold. I didn't hear one single thing that he said that I disagreed with. That I said, oh, that's not what the messenger said. And that's a rare thing these days. Because everybody knows how critical I can be. Oh, I can nitpick now. I can get down to the nitty-gritty details and show you where you're wrong. But I ain't hear nothing in what this man said that I had any disagreement with. So I highly recommend that you check Brother Melchizedek Shabazz Allah out. And I understand he got videos all over the place. And even though I didn't know anything about him, people all over the world know about him. I think he got a movie on Netflix. I'm going to try to check it out. You see? But it's the root teachings. And that's what's missing in a lot of people. You just do not know the root teachings. You know the derivative teachings that somebody gave you, but you don't have the root teachings. And that's what's wrong with you. And that's why you can't be successful and have the prosperity that you desire because you don't have the root. You're out there on the branch getting ready to fall off. So that's my recommendation, and I'm glad to see the brother's strong in his 90s. And of course, the other person we saw last week, I call him Minister Wali Bahar, but he's Captain Wali Bahar. You see, those were the men I looked up to. I used to go to Wali Bahar's mosque in Akron. He said he wasn't a minister. Oh, yes, he was too. That man could teach. Now, most of the teaching was done by his assistant brother, Wilmer, but Wali Bahar could teach. And just to see him in his 90s, talking the way he talks, that natural wisdom that comes out of the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, it just makes you naturally wise. You don't even have to try to be wise. I see people nowadays, they trying to look wise, trying to sound wise. You don't have to do that. Just be yourself. But in order to be yourself, you have to receive the message that was given to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad for us to become wise. So anyhow, I just wanted to say that about the brother. I'm just so excited, over what I heard, and you will be too. So get the root teachings from people who know how to deliver it. Many of these latter-day teachers, they weren't even there. They weren't even born. How would they know? Next image, please. They get it from people like us, like him. And I got it from people like him. Okay, so now this is about the 9 ministries, obviously. See, this is obviously about atonement. If we're going to celebrate the birthday of our Savior, then we can celebrate it with words. I know people send text messages, Happy Savior's Day with pretty pictures and all that. But I think the Savior would be happier if we did what he said. He wants to hear from us at once. Says your brother from the East wants to hear from you at once. Hear from you about what you're doing. I don't think Master Farad Muhammad minds getting the greetings of Assalamu alaikum. I don't think he minds that. But I think he would rather get a business report. How much business are you doing over there in the wilderness of North America? How many of my hungry people are you feeding? How many of the children are you educating? You see, I think he would like to get progress reports like that. You see, rather than just empty phrases of praise, I think he would like to get some concrete examples. You know, I mean, we think God went away to prepare a place for us. How come we don't prepare a place for God in case he wants to come back? I mean, suppose he came back to Detroit after all these years. Would he find the same circumstances among his people in Detroit that he left? Next image, please. Well, without these 9 ministries, you know what the answer is. And so wealth, health, and are the keys to survival. And so we need to understand what our true value is. Not just the true value of money, but the true value of ourselves. Some of us are golden, some of us are silver. All of us have value. What's your intrinsic value? And that is the wealth that you can bring to the building of your nation. And of course, we should protect our wealth with gold and silver. That coin that you're looking at, that was an idea that came from the commission. What was the brother's name out there in the Bay Area? Brother, was his name Daniel? Anyhow, he went to a mint, he minted a coin with the image of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad in gold and silver. And this was a project we said to the nation, look, you could invest in gold and silver and accumulate your wealth and protect it in gold and silver instead of in paper dollars. And of course, we could still do it, even though we didn't do it then. And then in 1986, I founded the Abundant Life Clinic. And now I'm trying to put together dralim.com to offer health services as best I can. And others are doing the same. But we need to do more and get it organized. Because what's the good of having wealth without health? Or health without wealth? Some of us are very healthy, but poor as hell. You see? And then down there, you see green cake. That's one of my inventions. I'll talk about that another time. It's a survival food. Doesn't need shelf life. It's raw. You don't have to cook it. But it will protect you against the high levels of radiation that are all around us these days. Even the radiation from your cell phone. Next image, please. So this is what's happening. Is this Armageddon? Hezbollah bombards third Israeli base after Bibi launches invasion into Lebanon. Now the reports are that Bibi Netanyahu fled Israel and is hiding out in Germany. And his son is hiding out in Miami, Florida. But Bibi and his wife, they got on, his jet is called the Wing of Zion. They jumped on the Wing of Zion and fled to Germany. They're hiding out in Germany somewhere. Although there are reports that he might be dead because he hasn't been seen in 4 days. They haven't been seen, hide nor hair, Bibi, in 4 days. And you know they bombed his house, like they bombed the Ayatollah's house. Next image, please. So is he hiding out in Germany or is he dead? Which would you prefer? So now that's Sheikh Imran Hussein there on the right from Trinidad. And he's an excellent teacher. And he's made a special study of the, what's that word? Eschatology. The eschatology, the end times, from an Islamic point of view. What does the Quran say about the end times? All the Christians like to do is recite Revelations. Well, what does the Quran have to say about the same thing? You see? So according to him, the biggest war in history, they don't say Armageddon, they say Malhama, the Malhama, the Great War. You see, according to him, it started right before your eyes. Next image, please. Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready for universal war? You see, I showed the blood moon earlier, and we saw how it made these lunatics go crazy. You see, they just went berserk. They were crazy enough already, and then they just went another further. So now what impact does that have on black people? Are you going to go berserk too? I mean, I'm really asking the question, and I really want to know. See, because the same cosmic forces that are acting on these devilish people, driving them berserk, driving them insane, those same cosmic forces are acting on us. So if Reba, if their practice of Reba, in other words, injustice, if their practice over the years, over the centuries really, of injustice against the whole world, against Africa, against South America, against black people, brown people, red people, yellow people, universal injustice against everybody. So that's why they're being driven insane. Well, how about us? Suppose I've been unjust. Could that same lunacy affect me? Suppose you've been unjust and the blood moon comes with the total lunar eclipse and it's driving lunatics insane. Could you be one of those lunatics? Is there a lunatic living in your house with you? Are you associating with lunatics and they're about ready to go off because they've been unjust? Because the judgment of God is no respecter of person. Next image, please. The same thing that'll drive white people crazy, that'll drive you crazy if you are guilty of the same sins. And one of the sins is heresy. See, the king's heretics, how Jews built Spanish Jamaica. Well, I'm not enough of a historian to go into what that's all about, but I know what heresy is about. If you want to conquer somebody, you got to change what they believe in. You have to disrupt what they believe in, replace it with something else that's a substitute that poisons them, that destroys their mind. That's what heresy is, and that's why it's such a diabolical crime, because it poisons the minds of people. Well, if the Honorable Elijah Muhammad says that the battle of Armageddon is for the minds of men, don't you know heresy is going to be the number one weapon used by the enemy to destroy the minds of men? So what should we be on the lookout for if we understand that we're in the midst of this war that's for the minds of men? We should be on the lookout for heresy, false doctrines. Next image, please. Who are the Jews that's trying to overcome our nation? Look at this. According to Tucker Carlson, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and I think there's some more countries too, arrested Mossad agents planning to carry out false flag operations inside Saudi Arabia, blow up the oil fields, blow up infrastructure, kill civilians, blow up schools, kill little girls. You know what they do. But see, they arrested these Mossad agents. I said, well, look at that. Isn't that something? Isn't that something? Because they were trying to be allies with Israel. And they thought Israel was their friend, and yet they had spies in there. And I guess they learned that from Iran, because that trouble they were having in Iran a few weeks ago, that was being stirred up by Mossad spies that had been inserted into Iran years and years ago, pre-positioned, and then sneaking Starlink receivers and weapons and explosives across the border a little at a time over the years, and these Mossad agents implanted in Iran. And then at the proper moment, they are activated and all these explosions take place and riots in the street. And I guess Saudi Arabia and Qatar said, well, if they did that to Iran, maybe they did that to us. And they found out it was true. There was Mossad agents everywhere. So they found out that, see, now this is what occurred to me. See, because I look at the dispute that's been raging in America, or you could say involving the Nation of Islam, Minister Farrakhan, and the Jews. Well, if they would put Mossad agents in Saudi Arabia and in Iran, I said, well, they probably have Mossad agents in the Nation of Islam. I wonder if we have enough sense to look for them so they can be arrested, because they're probably up to no good, getting ready to cause trouble, cause explosions, blow up pipelines and stuff. That's what they do. Cause trouble among the righteous people, causing them to fight and kill one another. That's what a Mossad agent would do. So if they're in Saudi Arabia and Qatar and all the rest of these countries, we better check out our own nation. See who's in here with us. Next image, please. Pretending to be us. Acting like they're us. Impersonating us. Now see, U.S. troops, they're being brought up to date as to what this really is. Now, when you read headlines like this, you can see that the reporter that wrote this headline, he don't believe that this is the War of Armageddon. When you listen to this on television, they're talking about what Trump is telling the troops, what the Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, is telling the troops, that this is a crusade, this is a war, a holy war, fought on behalf of Jesus, so we can bring Jesus back. You see, so you see the media and most of the public, see, they're laughing at this like this is a joke. Well, is it really a joke? Suppose they're right. Suppose this is the War of Armageddon. I mean, I think it's the War of Armageddon. So why shouldn't the Knight Commander of the Knights of Malta, the military commander of the world, why shouldn't he tell his troops the truth? Hey, this is a holy war. This is the War of Armageddon. That's what this is. This is not about nuclear weapons. This is not about oil. This is not about anything except we bringing Jesus Christ back. This is the War of Armageddon. So suit up, boot up, and get ready to fight and kill and die so Jesus will be happy enough to come back and save us. Next image, please, from our sins. That makes sense to me. See, Pete Hegseth, have you seen the tattoos that this man wears? He's a Knight of Malta. He's a Maltese Knight. That's why he's the Secretary of Defense. He knows who the commander is. That's his boss, Donald Trump. Okay? So he knows what time it is. He's a Maltese Knight. Albert Pike told him what time it is and what to do. Next image, please. This is Armageddon. What you thought it was? You're trying to laugh at these people like they don't know what they're doing. They know what they're doing. Do you know what you're doing? President Trump has been anointed by Jesus to fight, to ignite, I'm having trouble reading it, lighting a signal fire in Iran to cause Armageddon and mark his return to earth. See, that's what the U.S. military believes. Do you know that they have Bible classes in the military every day, indoctrinating them into evangelical Zionism? And so the average enlisted person, that's what they believe. That's what they think they're fighting for. They think that Donald Trump has been anointed by Jesus to bring about Armageddon so Jesus can come back. Now, as silly as that seems, for people to actually believe that, hey, there's people who believe similar things among us. They believe similar things. It's all based on the same lies that are in the King James Version of the Bible. Now, if you had the original Bible, it wouldn't be any lies in it. But since you only had the King James Version of the Bible, that's all it is. It's so full of lies that Master Fard Muhammad called it a poison book. And you see how they use those lies to perpetrate frauds on the people, to deceive the people, and to start wars and conflicts. What do you think this is? This is war based on a lie in a false scripture. Next image, please. False doctrine leads to war. Only the true doctrine of Islam leads to peace. So when you see war breaking out, that's not the true doctrine of Jesus or Moses or Muhammad. See, if that battery was destroyed, it only cost $1.8 billion. Now, THAAD means high altitude anti-aircraft defense. So this is the sophisticated battery system, missile defense system to shoot down ballistic missiles at a high altitude. Then you hear about the Patriot system. The Patriot shoots down low altitude missiles coming in. But regardless, they don't work, as you can see. The Iranians have figured them out. And so when I was looking at the updates of this war that's taking place, what the Iranians are doing militarily on the battlefield, it reminds me of Muhammad Ali, how he used to take opponents apart. Now hear that jab be coming out, man, boom, bam, 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 bam. You know, and he tearing up somebody's eyes. Pretty soon the eyes all puffed up, they can't see, don't know where they is. Then he takes them out with the heavy blows to the body. You see? So that's what the Iranians are doing. The first thing they did is hit the radar systems, hit the anti-aircraft systems. So now Israel and America are just about blind. They don't have any radar systems anymore. They can't see what's coming at them anymore. It's just like a blind fighter. He can't see the punches anymore. He probably would ward them off if he could see them, but he's blind. Now that reminds me of Samson in the Bible. He was blind too. He got so desperate in his blindness, he went into the temple and he pulled down the temple with his strength. I wonder if Trump is the Samson. See, Israel has an option they call the Samson option. They say if Israel's ever threatened with extinction, then they're going to exercise what they call the Samson option. And the Samson option means they're going to detonate a nuclear bomb and blow everybody up. Some people say Israel has nuclear bombs spread all over the world. So the Samson option means they're going to destroy the entire world if they can't have their way. And it looks like they're not getting their way. So I was thinking about it. I wonder if Trump is the one that's going to carry out the Samson option. That if Israel can't get his way, then Trump is prepared to destroy the entire world on Israel's behalf. And after all, he just revealed, as we have already known, he's a Zionist Jew. He converted to Judaism in 2017. His spiritual leader is the same one as Bibi Netanyahu's, the Reed from Flatbush, Brooklyn, Menachem Schneerson. And when they talk about the second coming of the Messiah, that's who they're talking about. They're saying that Menachem Schneerson from Flatbush, Brooklyn, who died in the 90s, he's going to come back to life as the Messiah. That's how crazy these people are. Next image, please. But they're blind now. Iran put their eyes out. Now there's rumors that Bibi Netanyahu is already dead. They destroyed his house. So they say he's buried under the rubble. And then, of course, I told you the other story was at least his plane flew to Germany. Now, whether he was on the plane or not, that's unknown. But the world hasn't heard a peep from Bibi in about 4 days. And that's unusual for a world leader, especially in the midst of a war. So rumor is he's probably dead. Next image, please. So we'll see if they have a big funeral for Bibi Netanyahu. Now, I couldn't help but laugh, because there's Trump caught in his own trap. He's in the Epstein files so big that he's being blackmailed. He's being blackmailed. See, because Jeffrey Epstein was a Mossad agent. Jeffrey Epstein was Trump's best friend for 10 years. They say there's over 1 million mentions of Trump in the Epstein files that they won't release. And so he's being blackmailed. If you don't do what we say, Mr. Trump, we're going to release the files and destroy your presidency. So you better go ahead and do what we say. But he went ahead and did what they said, and look what happened to him. Look what happened to the bases. All the bases in the Middle East being destroyed. Do you understand what's taking place? America is being driven out of the Middle East. every single military base that America had in the Middle East, whether it was in Syria, Iraq, whether it was in Kuwait or Bahrain or wherever it is, all of them have been hit. Well, what do you think happened to all those soldiers that were in those bases? The ones that didn't get killed, hey, they fled. You got videos of them fleeing, trying to get out of Dodge. They had to move the entire F-15 fleet to Cyprus. And as soon as they got to Cyprus, then Iran sent a missile and hit the military base in Cyprus. So now the Pentagon is saying we got to move these F-15s all the way to Italy for them to be safe. You saw how they shot down 4 F-15s. Supposed to be the most sophisticated aircraft in the world, getting shot down by Iran. Oh, the eagle has fallen. And so he's cast down into humiliation. See, this is not going to be over until he's totally humiliated, until America is totally humiliated before the world. Next image, please. He's already humiliated, but he's not humiliated enough. Now that's my son Kush Amir El Amin. So now he's a musician. He's a professional musician, plays the bass and a lot of other instruments, and they've won music awards. But it ended up when he settled down, he wanted to be a farmer. So right now he's farming the very same farm that Harriet Tubman came from, down on the Eastern Shore in Maryland. And so in season, he runs the Abundant Life Market. So he tries to recruit people to help to help do the farming, to raise some good food, and then take it to the public. So if you're in the DC area, in season, you can go down and help him on different weekends. And also you can join the Abundant Life Market and get some fresh produce. And of course, we need to expand this all over the country. We need food co-ops all over the country, food markets all over the country. We need people to get engaged in farming again because the food is so poisonous. You think you're practicing how to eat to live. No, you're not. How to eat to live is not just fasting, it's fasting with the right food. Well, how are you going to get the right food in the devil's supermarket? Come on now, get real. So that's Kush in the Abundant Life Market. Next image, please. And so we need, this would be under the Ministry of Agriculture, right? See, that kind of activity, that would all get organized under one umbrella called the Ministry of Agriculture. Now, this would be organized under the Ministry of Health and Human Services, obviously. You see? So all the doctors that are out there, how many doctors are out there? The last time I heard, about 24,000 black doctors, and most of them doing bad. So at the Million Man March, we had the president of the National Medical Association. Do you know they wouldn't let her speak? Here she is representing 24,000 black doctors. Here she is standing with the minister, representing the black doctors in America, and they wouldn't let her speak. And so what about now? Why don't we organize all the doctors among our people? If we did it back then, I had 700 doctors that volunteered to help with the first aid station at the Million Man March. 700 doctors. I lost count of the nurses. So we have all the health professionals that we need, but we just have to be organized. So we can handle them, and they would be in a position then to deliver their life-giving skills to us as a people. And I would put primary emphasis on the ability to deliver our own babies. Shouldn't we be able to deliver our own babies and protect our own women? I would build a healthcare system around the woman and her baby. That would make sense to me, because that's the foundation of any nation. That woman and her baby, Jesus and his mother Mary, that's the foundation of civilization right there. Isis and Horus, that's what that is. Next image, please. That's not just symbolism. And so the 9 ministries will help satisfy the needs of all of our people. And so that's the economic engine of progress. So if we're in the war of Armageddon, and we know what that means, that America's just getting ready to be destroyed, war abroad, war at home, getting ready to be burned up in a lake of fire. Everything that we have known is going to be destroyed. And so what should we do in the meantime? Now, I notice when the Iranians, when they killed the Ayatollah, I notice the Iranians, they're not sitting around waiting for the Ayatollah to come back. Have you heard any of the Iranians saying, oh, we're going to wait till the Ayatollah come back? He went somewhere and he going to come back. And he going to tell us what to do. No, they're not that silly, are they? No, they got somebody quick, didn't they? Next image, please. So we should have the same sense to keep going on with the mission. Now, this is the book that I wrote for the commission so that we would be able to operate according to the rules of deliberative dialogue. So it would be my recommendation going forward that everybody learn the rules of deliberative dialogue. Otherwise, you can't be a participant. You won't know the rules. You'll get thrown out of the game. You'll be accused of cheating because you weren't obeying the rules. And you won't be able to plead ignorance and say that I didn't know the rules because here are the rules. So go on Amazon and get your copy of the Deliberative Dialogue Manual. See, if Malik Zulu, Shabazz, and his people, if they're organized in a conference, a deliberative dialogue conference for the 21st day of March, okay, well then you have what 17 days to get this book, read through it. It's a 16-page book. It'll take you 2 hours to read it. And then you'll be up on the rules of dialogue so that then when the 21st comes and the different topics get announced at the Congress, then you'll know what dialogue group that you should join and participate in, and you'll be able to do it lawfully. You'll be able to do it lawfully and get somewhere. So the book's on Amazon, so get your copy. Next image, please. And then this is I think what's coming up here. This is the commissioner's workbook. So the commission operated according to deliberative dialogue. And then the commissioner's workbook were the topics that came up, the problem areas in the Nation of Islam. And I don't have the table of contents to show you, but the table of contents is each problem area that was being addressed by the Commission for the Restructuring and the Reorganization of the Nation of Islam. And so I would suggest that you get a hold of this too, so you can see these were the topics out of which grew the 9 ministries. See, the 9 ministries didn't come out of nowhere, just dropped out of the sky as a bright idea. No, it came out of dialogue discussing the problems of the nation. And then out of that deliberative dialogue, over years and years of dialogue, then emerged the concepts of the 9 ministries and the 11 task force groups. And of course, that was the fabric of a government. We understood that through deliberative dialogue, we were weaving the fabric of a government to drape on the shoulders, we thought at the time, of Minister Farrakhan. But it turned out he didn't want to be draped with the fabric of government. So he rejected the 9 ministries and the task force groups and the programs that went with them. And so that's why we're in the condition that we're in today. So my recommendation going forward is get the manual on dialogue so you understand what dialogue really is. It's not a debate, it's not even a discussion. It's a very special way of communicating in order to solve problems. It's like the Socratic method that philosophers use. It's like the scientific method that scientists use. And so it's a problem-solving method that has universal application. So get the rules of it, and then this is the list of problems. This is the problem list of our nation. And when Minister Farrakhan read this, back in the day, many years ago, he said this should be the next study guide. But it was never offered to the people, but it's being offered to the people now. So let this be the next study guide then. Answer all the questions in this book. When you're ready to answer all the questions in this book, then you're ready to tackle the most difficult job of building the 9 ministries. You see, so this is your homework. And if we have, 17 days to the next big event, then we can be up to speed by that time. Was that the last image, Sister Cheryl? I think
Sister Sandra, yes, sir, it's the last.
Sister Sandra, I'm sorry.
No worries. It's the last slide, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. So it's a little after 8 o'clock. So I think we have time to answer any questions or receive comments, if there are any. Do you see any hands up in the chat or?
We have one hand up initially. We have Brother James.
Okay.
Assalamu alaikum, family. Thank you, Dr. Alim, for the information today. How would I go about getting the Book of Acts? Is that available?
Oh, well, for people who don't know, the Book of Acts is a compilation of all of the program initiatives that were voted on and approved to be used by the 9 ministries to do their work. So that's what the Book of Acts is. So I've shown a 3-ring notebook that contains the outlines of the program initiatives. And even just the outlines, the 1-page outlines is about this thick. So now the full documents that go with the Book of Acts, that's all in cardboard boxes in my garage. You know, and it needs to be digitized. So what I would say, if anybody wants the Book of Acts, then you could help me by helping to digitize all of these hard copy documents, you know, so then they could be easily published and shared with everybody. But right now, all I have are hard copies of these documents that I was able to save from the days of the commission.
Okay, well, I'll be willing to do that. Some time to do that. I have some old tapes, some old yellow tapes too, from Muslim before.
Yeah, I mean, see,
converted it. Yeah, you know the text we used to get from Tape Connection.
yes, of course.
I still read lectures, and I need to get those. I need to get them to you, but I need to get them. There's one that you did. It's called The Word. I put that away. I really got to get that one to you. But so I'm trying to get my time and everything, and because I'm still a slave, I'm not free. So I'm trying to get my time together and everything so I can get my. But I do want to try to start something and help you to get that stuff archived. So whatever we can do, we can move forward from there.
Yes. Well, I certainly appreciate that. And see, what you're pointing out, and what I'm trying to point out, is that we have so much of value that already exists. You know, so much valuable information already exists. It's already created. It's just not organized. For example, we're talking about information. Most people are not aware of the fact. Do you know that Dr. Ben, the famous historian, Dr. Ben Yochanan, who wrote all those marvelous books, do you know that he donated his entire library to the Nation of Islam? That Minister Farrakhan has all of the books that were in Dr. Ben Yochanan's library. But what can he do with them? We don't have a library building. How can you have a library without a library building? And some of the other things of value that we have, artifacts, preserved. I mean, you think that's all I got in my garage are the documents from the commission? I have all kinds of things, memorabilia, artifacts that I've collected over the years from the Nation of Islam. And I'm sure other people do too. But where are they going to put it? In the garage, like me? And that's why all of my Muhammad Speaks got destroyed, because I had a flood in my basement where I used to live. And all my Muhammad Speaks got destroyed. And in fact, the letter that I got from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad telling me that to be a doctor, that got destroyed. You see, so if we were sensible people, you see, we would realize the value of what has already been done. And we would collect that value. We would hold on to it. We would preserve it as our wealth. That's our intellectual heritage. That's our culture. That's our civilization. That's how we got to where we are. And then we would have a properly constructed museum, library, where all of these things could be collected and secured properly. And we would have to think beyond generations.
Right.
Because all of us are going to die. So if Minister Farrakhan has possession of Dr. Ben's library, well, what happens when he passes away? Is he going to take that with him on the mother plane? I don't think so. So what's going to happen to those books that Dr. Ben gave to the black community to be safeguarded by the minister? Well, who's going to help the minister to do something with Dr. Ben's library collection? Who's going to help him? He don't know what to do with it. And when the evil accident of time takes place, it's just going to be lost. What would happen if I passed away? And all those documents that we collected over the years of the commission, what's going to happen to them? They get lost? Somebody just throw them in a dumpster? And all that work, all that creativity lost? The salvation of a nation lost because nobody cared enough to preserve it? So thank you for those remarks. I appreciate that. Do we have anybody else? Maybe one or two more if we have time.
Yeah. One hand, Brother Dawood. Star 6, Brother Dawood.
Assalamu alaikum. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Sir. Well, excellent.
Assalamu alaikum, Dot. You know, it's always a pleasure. I look forward to the show. I wanted to ask you, you say you lost the letter to the Most Honorable Alim Muhammad sent you. My heart just skipped a beat. I know he was kind of like upset for me. I was upset. It didn't even happen to me. So my question is...
that felt like I was committing a sin. That's almost like I was committing a sin to lose that letter through negligence.
Oh, my God.
And just, it was just a busted pipe in the basement. It's gone. It's gone.
My question is, in spite of, in the midst of, Iran is really doing a number on these installations over there. And, I'm surprised at the way they systematically, defending themselves and shooting their missiles off. But, I wanted to ask you, because I've been watching this Chinese historian make predictions about what's going to happen, later on within this year and later on in next year. And I wanted to ask you, what are some of, as a geopolitician and as a follower of the Most Honorable Alim Muhammad, I wanted to ask, what are some predictions that you made, you will make about what's going on?
Oh, okay. Well, that's a lot of fun because I used to do that all the time, try to make predictions. In fact, I just made a prediction just a little while ago. The war of Ramadan, and I said last week, I said that the attack of Israel against Iran would take place on March the 2nd or March the 3rd. I posted that. That was my prediction. Well, they jump-started me. They attacked a few days earlier, so I can't give myself complete credit for being accurate. But I saw it coming. And then when I saw, there was the full moon that was coming. And then, I didn't really understand the nature of the Feast of Purim. I didn't realize it was a celebration after a battle took place, after a battle had been won. So in other words, when I said that the attack was supposed to take place on March the 2nd or 3rd, because that was Purim, no, they thought they would be celebrating by this time. They thought with this sneak attack, a decapitation attack, The Ayatollah's out of the way. We killed some of the top military commanders, you know, and now there's a regime change. And now in Tel Aviv, we're all celebrating the victory of ancient Israel over the Persians once again. But it didn't work out that way. So the fireworks over Tel Aviv tonight or last night on Purim, hey, they weren't fireworks of celebration. They were the fireworks of destruction. So this is the literal fire and brimstone raining down on the wicked. See, there's not many of those people in Israel that deserve to be saved. Because in the face of the genocide against the Palestinians, how many of them raised their voice to put a stop to it?
No.
And how many of them participated in it? Almost all of them.
Oh, no.
Because it's a very militarized society where it is compulsory on you to serve in the military. So all of them are murderers. All of them. And so the wages of sin is death. So you ask me what my prediction is? I don't think that Iran is going to stop until Israel is literally wiped off the face of the earth. I wouldn't be a bit surprised if by next week this time, or 2 weeks from now, or by the time we have our conference, Israel no longer exists. In one sense, it no longer exists now. Nobody can live there. Everybody's fleeing. They're going back to Brooklyn. They're going back to Russia. They're flying back to Germany. At the start of this conflict back last year, the population of Israel was 12 million people. I think it's down to like 6 million now. Half the population has fled the country. It's unlivable. And the ones that are still there, they're stark raving mad. See, all the Jews in Israel that had some sense and some morality, they said, I can't put up with this, and they left. The ones that's left, these are the sociopaths, the psychopaths, you know, the inherently criminal, devilish people. So what's their fate? What have they earned for themselves? Those who live by the sword must die by the sword. So that's what Iran is doing. And you see, the Persian Empire, you know, was in existence 5,000 years ago. How old is Israel? 1948, you know? So, you know, evil doesn't last long. See, in the lifetime of an individual person, we might think, hey, this is going on too long. But from the standpoint of nations, from the viewpoint of nations and civilizations, this is just a blink of the eye. You know, this is like getting something caught in your eye and irritates you for a little while until you get it out. So that's what's happening. The Islamic world is cleansing itself of this evil that crept in unawares. And because of the superiority of the weapons that the Iranians have, the Israelis and the Americans have no defense against them. And so since the Americans and the Israelis proved that you can't negotiate with them, how can you negotiate an agreement with the devil? They may not have known that the white man was the devil. See, we would have told them, hey, the white man is the devil. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad told us that the white man is the devil. He told us don't trust none of them. He said, you're looking at a man in whom there's no good at all. Don't trust none of them. But see, the Iranians probably didn't know that. So that's why they got sucker punched the first time, because they didn't know that. They thought they could make an agreement with the devil, even though they were saying that America was the great Satan. They had it in a symbolic way. They didn't know he was the real devil. See, we're the only ones that know who the real God is and who the real devil is. We could have told him, you can't trust this white man. He told us he was going to give us $50, 40 acres, and a mule to make up for what he did to us in slavery. Well, you know for yourself, you never got $50 in gold, you never got 40 acres, and you never got a mule. You know, some of us who have Native American blood. See, half of my family's on a reservation. Well, what treaty did the white people in America ever make that they kept with the Native American tribes and nations? None.
Not one.
So we could have told the Iranians, you can't negotiate with these devils. Yeah, but see, they're smart, so they figured that out for themselves. So Trump been trying to get them to agree to a ceasefire, and they say, hell no. What's there to talk about? What is there to talk about to the devil? So that's why Muhammad and any Muslim will murder the devil. So that's what's happening. The devil's being murdered. Now, after he gets done being murdered in the Middle East, then where's he going to go? Where's all those Israelis going to end up? They're going to run back to America. And who are those people that are in Israel? Pedophiles, gangsters, criminals. So they're going to be flooding back into America. But what do you think they're going to do when they come back into America mad as hell because they got kicked out of the Middle East? They're going to raise hell in America. They already control the government. Bill Clinton was right. 30% of the politicians in Washington are pedophiles. So you can see that's the doom of America. See, that's the doom of America. That's the doom of Israel. I would be surprised if America makes it one more year. Some people would argue America's not a viable government now. Some people would say America's been overthrown and taken over by the Zionist lobby. That America has been overthrown. Some people say the overthrow of America started with the assassination of Kennedy. And who did that if it wasn't Mossad? So Mossad assassinated the American president. Everybody mad because they killed the Ayatollah. They killed your president in 1963, and you haven't done anything about it yet. They sunk your battleship, the USS Liberty, and killed hundreds of your soldiers or sailors, and you haven't done anything about it yet. So who's running America? You know who's running America. So it's become, what is described in the book of Revelations, the hold of every unclean and evil bird. A habitation of devils. And here we are in the middle of a habitation of devils. So we need to protect ourselves so that we're not eating their food, we're not being educated in their schools, we're not being given health care in their facilities. We don't have nothing to do with them because separation is the divine solution pointed out to us by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Well, we can't inhabit a separate state or territory, until we build a government that would govern that territory and govern our behavior and our relationship with one another like all civilized people do. So when we say let's build the 9 ministries, we're just saying let's step up another level of civilization among ourselves. We don't have to be savage. Just because Master Fawad Muhammad found us in a savage state, we don't have to stay savage. We actually could become civilized. So that's my appeal. Let's become civilized and build a civilization. And in order to make that possible, you actually have to have the institutions of civilization. And those are the 9 ministries and the task forces. So thank you for that question, I guess it was. Let's take one more, and then I'll be real quick, and then we'll close it out.
Yes, sir. We didn't have any on Facebook or YouTube, so I'm not sure if anybody on the Zoom would like to.
Okay.
They have a question.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Yes, I just want you to know, Dr. Alim, that Brother Melchizedek is in the Zoom.
Okay. I can't see.
Yeah.
Is he trying to be recognized? Is that what you're saying?
No, I just wanted you to know, just so you're aware.
Oh, okay. Assalamu alaikum, Chief.
Yes, sir.
So there was one thing I wanted to say. Oh, yes. There was something on YouTube that I ran across concerning Brother Jabril. It was done by his wife, Dr. Patina, and it was entitled, What Happened to Brother Jabril? And she detailed all of the events of his illness and death. And I was a little bit disturbed by it at first, and I thought maybe that wasn't the right thing to do. But then as I listened to it, and it was heartbreaking, some parts of it, to listen to it. But then I realized that there was a purpose behind it. She was probably feeling a lot of pressure, maybe feeling suspicion from people about what happened to our great brother Jabril, because I feel the same kind of pressure and suspicion sometimes too. And so I understand she may have been responding to that. At least that's how I interpret it. And then it occurred to me, I said, well, maybe I should do the same thing. Even though at the beginning I didn't think it was a good idea for her to do it, but the more I listened, I said, well, maybe I should do the same thing for myself. Because there's an awful lot of suspicion that people have concerning me. Here, I'm the man that saved the minister's life, and people are talking about I was trying to kill him. And that's only because all they've been listening to is a false narrative about it from people who weren't even there. They don't even know what happened. And the only one that could actually tell the story about what happened is me. There are only 3 people that were present. There was a nurse that I don't know where she is. And then it was the minister and me. And the minister was unconscious. So he doesn't know what happened. He was unconscious. So in order for the people to find out what really happened in what people call his near-death experience, you have to get that story from me, because I was the only one there. And the people that you've heard talk about it since then, whatever they know of truth about it, they got it from me, because they certainly weren't there. And so maybe it is a good idea. And I've just about made up my mind. I think I will do that. And we just need to decide on the format and the date and everything. And you know, not try to make it too long. I'm not going to go into all of the intricate details, but just enough so that you actually understand what really happened. Instead of all these fairy tales and false narratives that are being told. I think you have a right, you deserve to know what happened and how it happened and who was involved and who was not involved. So it's not for me to seek some kind of credit or gratitude. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad already told me to expect ingratitude. I don't do something to get gratitude from people. I'm concerned with the gratitude of Allah. But I think, grateful or not, you deserve to know the truth. And as long as I'm here to tell it, I think it's my obligation to tell it. So I think we'll organize an event like that and just make it available to the public. So whoever is interested in understanding, you know, the events surrounding the minister's near-death experience. And it wasn't just one time. It was 2 times. It was 2 times. And so you need to know those details. So we'll let you know about it. It won't be too long in the future, inshallah, before we're able to do that. So with that, I think this will end our night's program. And I want to thank you all for being with us. I hope that you got something valuable. We try to make these programs valuable, not just entertaining. And I hope that you understand the value of it for yourself, but also you understand the value of it for others so that you share it and you make it go viral. And if you're with me on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe, you know, as you share so that you never miss another broadcast. So thank you for being with us. I'm your host, Dr. Alim. We're looking forward to Sister Amira Bey being back with us in the near future, but we were assisted tonight by Sister Sandra. We want to thank her and all of you. May Allah bless and keep you. Assalamu alaikum.
Well, excellent, sir.
Wa alaikum salam. 9 ministries and ministry hands. Administer the medicine and wake up the dead. So let us attempt the uphill road. The book say what will make you know it's the freest slave. Body and mind, to view my brothers hungry as mine. To take care of widows and the father the child. To humbly pray and not be proud. Blessed being proud of being called by his name. We pray for his coming, glad he came. Call for the messenger, call to the same. Called by the minister who called again. Tonight he the call is to live in sin. And feel the fire to lick you in. But your agreement with hell won't stand. Do you even know what Elijah was saying? Just the volume, turn up the sound. You can believe you're listening now. I'm minister, God, teacher, and friend. Let the world know we back again. The sun never set on a nation of gods. The moon, stars, all our stars. Align with his mind and reclaiming power. Let that be the
Shout it out.
education and agriculture, science, technology, arts, and culture. Health, human services, justice, defense, information, spiritual development, trade and commerce. And of course, there's all types of different task forces coming together the right kind of way to execute a perfect overtime plan. Coach, a team, and a kingdom to be. Two backing him up, we got 3. I got daily in Christ, he said. Well, James can't get that out of his head. So seeking assistance, patience, and prayer. A double overtime type. So it's just the volume, turn up the sound. You can believe you're listening now. I'm minister, God, teacher, and friend. Let the world know we back again. The sun never set on a nation of gods. The moon, stars, all our stars. Align with his mind and reclaiming power. Let that be the
Shout it out.
He coming back to build his brother when he said set yourself in heaven. Said Matthews, Islam, mystery wasn't said I make perfect rulers of them. Now that sound like straight words to me. So I'm trying to be on some let's get free. And y'all thought this was just a management thing, but here's the reason Mike got 6 rings.
Mike got rings, Mike got power, clutch performer, shock of the hour. It is what it is, young Mike can't lie. We play to win, they play to try, so we stay focused, build the nation. Negroes, devils, spectate the game. So I pray my plan, work my prayer, cause I'm a double overtime type of player.
Just the volume one last time. Rewind it back to check the rhyme. I'm minister, God, teacher, and friend. Let the world know we back again. The sun never set on the nation of gods. The moon and stars, all our stars. Align with his mind and reclaim the power. Let that be the shot of the hour.
Okay. That's it for our night's broadcast. Thanks for being with us. Don't forget to subscribe and share. Show that you care.